and be accountable, but also put my hand up and pat myself on the back. Because when I talked about my concerns about the Denver Nuggets, they might have been premature, but the thing I said was, if Nikola Jokic can dig deep into a different level and drag this team, and maybe drag was a little harsh because guys have stepped up, and also Aaron Gordon's injured as well, to a 3 or 4 seed, he would win his 4th MVP. It's early, but right now, as of today, he's 5th in the league in scoring with 29.7 points per game. He leads the league in rebounding with 13.7 rebounds per game. And he leads the league in assists with 11.7 assists per game. If that ain't tapping into another level to get this team right, and they've won 5 in a row as we record this, they have an NBA Cup game tomorrow. But, man, I didn't think that Nikola Jokic had another level that he could get to, but he's showing that he can right now.
He's the best player in the world, and it's not even close.
Not close.
What he is doing night in and night out, it's not close. Every single time that you think that, okay, no one's ever figured him out. He's almost impossible to figure out. We've learned that at this point. He's too big. You can't double him. His core vision is too elite. His passing is too elite. He's got a sixth sense. He can, when he really wants to put his shoulder down and score the way that we've seen him do it already this season, he can go get you 30 a night. And I saw a crazy stat the other day that if he averages, and I wrote it down, if he averages 7.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 9.7 assists per game for the rest of the season, he will still average a triple-double. That's how good he has been in the first 11 games or 10 games of the season.
Yeah.
He has been so ridiculously dominant. The Nuggets are starting to figure it out around him because he's playing so well. And, voter fatigue is a thing. We know that at this point. But, when you're playing that well, he has become inevitable. I don't know how, if he continues to play, even at a similar rate to he has at the start of the season, how he doesn't win his 4th MVP. And I don't know if you feel the same way. I mean, I know you and I wanted to talk a little bit about, where our MVP ladder stands right now. And myself personally, it's Nikola Jokic at number 1. It's Jason Tatum at number 2. It's probably Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at number 3. But after that, you could really make a case for maybe Anthony Davis, maybe LeBron James. But to me, it's Jokic, and then probably 50 yards, and then Tatum, and then maybe 100 yards, and then anybody else that you want to throw in there. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but Jokic, no one's going to get an MVP trophy based on what they do in the first 11 games of the season.
Yeah.
But his history of being as durable as he is, in him being able to withstand the course of an 82-game season and play as often as he does night in and night out, on the track that he's on right now, Nikola Jokic is headed towards a 4th MVP.
Well, yeah, to start with the MVP ladder, because I had the same names as you. Jokic, again, just far. It's incredible to say, like you said, this early in the season, we haven't even watched a month's worth of games. But to say that somebody has this big of headway or of a lead over people, especially after the season started the way it started for the Nuggets, that says everything you need to know about how well Nikola Jokic is playing this season. Same thing, 2 and 3, not necessarily a toss-up, but maybe depends on the week, whether it's Shai, whether it's Jason Tatum, whose team is losing to the Trae Young-less Hawks. That sometimes maybe docks you a little bit.
For sure, for sure.
Sometimes. But, 82-game season, those types of things happen. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. Jokic 1, big gap. Shai, Jason Tatum. I'm wondering if they'll be able to make up the gap. Does Jokic regress a little bit? Do those guys maybe take a jump up? A lot of season to be played. This, talking about the Thunder, this time that they're without their bigs, maybe that's an opportunity for Shai to show himself. Now, to get back to the Jokic conversation, you mentioned the word inevitable, and that came to mind too when I was thinking about it and thinking about the short list of players who have won 4+ MVPs. We got a lot of season left, but thinking back to the last time we saw it, was the last player that I really feel like we could say with such certainty that they were inevitable. And that was LeBron winning 2 his last year in Cleveland, the Derrick Rose year, then winning 2 in Miami. And a lot of that was voter fatigue. A lot of that was voter frustration with him leaving Cleveland to go to Miami. So I'm thinking about Jokic, and I'm thinking about just the fact that this really does feel like, and I think that Curry had, Steph had his moments, especially during those years where he was just and he's still kind of showing some flashes of that now, but not to this level where it's like, man, what do you do about this guy? Like, how do you figure this out? And I say that to say this version of Jokic, it's a two-parter, right? Like, how sustainable is this level of play for the course of an entire season and the playoffs? Because that's another 2-month season on top of the regular season. And I guess depending on your answer, how far can this version of Jokic take a team? Even if the Nuggets figure everything out, Aaron Gordon gets healthy, Russell Westbrook settles into his role, all of those things, how far can this version of him take? Is this version of him so good to where no team can beat them 4 times in 7 games? I know I've asked these questions before, but he's even better than he's been before.
No, I mean, they're absolutely a beatable team still. Like, I mean, he's
Right.
playing incredible basketball individually, but like, in my opinion, like on any given night, I still think that the Nuggets could lose a game because I just don't
That's
think
true.
that the talent or team built around him right now is even at the same level as the team that won it all in 2023. So, you know,
Yeah.
like they are still beatable. He is incredible in his own right, but the team itself is still very beatable. And I think that, like, you know, when you look at teams like Oklahoma City, like, I don't know, I mean, the Lakers, like they have the Lakers number, but like at the same time, like, you know, LeBron's playing at a really high level. Anthony Davis is playing at a really high level. Like JJ Redick as a new head coach, like maybe they could kind of scheme something up to take down the Nuggets. I mean, we saw it last year. The Minnesota Timberwolves did that, you know, and they had a team that was equipped with Cat and with Rudy Gobert to take down the Nuggets. And I still think that even though they've gotten off to kind of a struggling start to the season as well, like that's still a team that is more than capable of beating Denver. So, you know, is it going to be easy to beat Nikola Jokic 4 times in 7 games? Like, no, it's never going to be easy to beat a player that's that good 4 times in 7 games, but it's definitely doable. And, you know, I haven't looked to see how the odds have adjusted, like to win the West. I would assume the Thunder are still up top. I would assume the Nuggets are still very close, but, you know, there's a lot of talented teams in the West. And, you know, I think at one point there was like 11 teams in the West that had a winning record, and there's only 2 teams in the East that had a winning record. So it goes to show that, you know, the balance of power has kind of shifted back to the Western Conference. And that just goes to show that, like, no matter who they draw in the first round, it's probably going to be a pretty tough matchup. And obviously, as you get further into the playoffs, those matchups only get tougher. So, you know, it's a gauntlet in the Western Conference. And that's, you know, a lot of wear and tear and very taxing on a player like Jokic, who not only has to do so much offensively, but he gets put in so many actions defensively. Teams trying to go right at him. And even though, you know, he's improved as a defender, like they're doing that to try and wear him down. And if he's doing that over the course of 6-game series, 7-game series, 5-game series, whatever it is, for multiple series in a row, then, you know, all of a sudden we're looking at a pretty vulnerable Nuggets team. So, you know, just because, like, the thing that's tough is like the regular season isn't, I mean, the MVP is a regular season award, and it's so easy for, like, you know, they get eliminated last year and people are kind of like, you know, oh, like, did he deserve it? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. You and I even talked about it. I thought Shea should have won MVP last year. I think you were kind of on the same page, but it's like, you know, no matter what happens to them in the playoffs, that doesn't mean that what he's done so far this season, if he were to do that for the rest of the season, that he doesn't deserve the MVP award. And the thing that's, you know, it puts him into that upper echelon of, like, what, there's only 5 players in NBA history that have won 4 MVPs. I think it's like Kareem, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, LeBron James, in Magic, maybe, are the only players.
Magic.
So, like, you know, he's knocking on the door of getting into that territory. But at the same time, like, he deserves to be in that territory. Like, I think I joked around about it on the pod last year. Like, every single record that gets broken in today's NBA, you are the first player to do this since Wilt Chamberlain. And, like, in 20 years from now, like, it's going to be joins Wilt Chamberlain, Nikola Jokic, and LeBron James in NBA history as the only players to do this. And, like, you know, I understand that there are a lot of people, like, especially after he won his 2nd and 3rd MVP, it's like, well, how is this going to look when, like, we look back on NBA history? But, like, the more that he plays, the more that he continues to prove that he deserves to be in those conversations and have his name alongside those all-time greats.
Yeah, when you talked through that first, the playoff thing, I thought immediately back to the 2018 Cavs, because that was arguably, between that and the 2007 finals run, LeBron's most surprising achievement as far as getting a team to the finals. But I think that it's different to be that kind of hub from the small forward position than it is to do it from the center position. I think that's the biggest difference, because you line that 2018 Cavs team up and line these 2024 Nuggets up, I don't necessarily think that it's that I might lean Nuggets, right? And you lean that version of LeBron, this version of Jokic. Again, apples and oranges, but same level as just being better than everybody else. But thinking that LeBron just being able to be the offensive hub and bring the ball up the court and really dictate everything throughout the entirety of the shot clock and the ISO buckets he's able to get is a very different thing. So yeah, it's going to be different in the postseason. We'll see if the Nuggets make some moves or figure some things out as the season goes on. But I think all that being said, we were concerned about them. I was concerned about them. They're going to be fine during the regular season, but beyond that, we will figure that out. I know you talked about Wilt Chamberlain. That gave me an idea for a Since Wilt Award. So maybe we'll have to talk to the NBA about a Since Wilt Award, because if so, Nikola Jokic would be the guy who holds that right now.